You're welcome.
Mr. Wilson, you've got your hand up. Come forward, please.
Thank you. One of the so-called co-equal goals of the Delta is Delta restoration of the ecosystem. What I'm hearing today is that can't happen.
Mr. Chair, do you want me to respond?
Well, I mean, Bert, let me just say, take a look at the statute, which includes a definition of restoration you will not agree with. And the definition you will not agree with is it acknowledges to the greatest extent feasible.
So then restoration is just a propaganda word.
No, if you mean by restoration, and we've talked enough times for me to believe this, that we really must return the Delta geographically and by its species to something that existed 150, 160 years ago. And I believe that's your position. There is no scientist who has yet...
I'm just trying to clarify it.
Well, okay.
I don't have a position yet after what I heard today.
Okay. Would you like me just to say, if you look at the landscape that we're dealing with today, not just the Delta but anywhere, there have been such fundamental changes in climate, in how the soils have been treated, the vegetation cover, that even with the best will in the world, it is simply not possible to move back to pre-1850 conditions. But that doesn't mean you can't restore things, you can't have a functioning ecosystem. So what the science community is trying to do is to understand what can you create that's going to be sustainable way into the future. And what actually I would encourage you to look at is that the best experiment that I know of that's been looking at this is the National Estuary Research Reserve System up at South Slough in southern Oregon. And that system was put in place 20, 25 years ago, and the founding director acknowledged that it is not possible to return to pre-1850 conditions. But they realized that you can't take care of the estuary without taking care of the watershed. So as a large-scale experiment, they set up their estuarine research reserve on the basis of trying to gain control over as much of the watershed as possible and restore that to pre-1850 conditions.
All right.
Yeah, actually, if I could just finish. And so the idea there was just to see how far, as an experiment, you could get back to the functioning ecosystem. And they've taken out power lines, roads, bridges, farmhouses. That they've restored some of the native vegetation to get exactly at the question you're asking.
So is your interpretation of the restoration of the Delta ecosystem following the guidance of the Delta plan that Mr. Chairman was just talking about?
Actually, I think that captures there was a lot of debate on that before my time, but I think that captures the prevailing opinion of scientists about what might be possible.
Do you think you could go beyond that, or are you constricted by that at all?
Well, look, I mean, this is the lead scientist's report to us. It's not a public debate on the position. We've had 2 years, Bert, of discussion on the Delta Plan. You've participated in a number of those discussions. If you want to pursue it later with Peter after the meeting, that's fine. Take a look at also the report that was just issued by the
Well, I don't mind making it a public discussion, so thank you very much.
Okay.